whatever, north.
North.
They have a place on the beach.
Yeah,
They've
that's what
had
I was
forever.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Are we on? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 11th. For introduction purposes, my name is Todd Wilchin. I am the chair of the county board. On my left, fellow commissioners Jennifer Brinkman and Deb Shore. On my right is Commissioner Roma Amundsen. The vice chair, Commissioner Bill Avery, is on vacation, so he will not be joining us this morning. From the county attorney's office, Mr. Dave Durbin is representing, as well as from the county clerk's office. We have the clerk, Mr. Dan Nolte, and Kelly Lundgren. The chief administrative officer for the county is Mr. Kerry Egan. Please join me by standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, if you'd please start the agenda.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, April 4th, 2017.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the last commissioners meeting on Tuesday, April 4th. Any discussion or corrections?
I just want to make a quick clarification. In 5Q on page 6, it references Children and Family Foundation, and I just think it should be more specific to say Nebraska Children and Families Foundation.
Okay, any other corrections? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Abstain?
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstention. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through April 11th, 2017.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is new business, setting the annual salary for Lynn Albin, bailiff 2, in the amount of $62,003, effective April 21st, 2017.
Move approval? Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the annual salary for Lynn Albin. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. B is setting the annual salary for Margot Fox, Deputy County Attorney, in the amount of $61,813.44 as Attorney 1, effective April 11th, 2017.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the annual salary for Margot Fox. Any discussion? I'll just point out that I did meet Margot earlier this morning in the hallway, and she's from Washington State, and so she's, excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to working with her. So with that, Mr. Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. C is an amusement license amendment from NRG Media LLC to change the date of an outdoor music concert from August 12th, 2017 to August 19th, 2017.
Move approval.
Oh, come on up.
Second, yeah.
Yeah. So we have a motion and a second to approve the amusement license, or I'm sorry, to change the amusement license.
Good morning.
Come on.
We just need to change the date from the 12th to the 19th due to our headliner's routing changes in his schedule, and so he could no longer do the 12th, so he's the one who had to move it to the 19th.
Okay, excellent.
Thank
Are
you.
there any questions?
Everything else in the original application remains exactly the
Yes,
same?
everything's the same, just we have to just move it to the following Saturday. Yep,
Excellent.
thank you.
Are there any other questions? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 3D is appointment of Ann E. Ames to the position of Deputy Chief Administrative Officer to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners effective May 1st, 2017, with an annual salary of $73,000 and with an increase to $75,000 after the successful completion of 6 months of employment.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Ann Ames to be the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. E is a recommendation from the Personnel Policy Board to create the classification of Technology Support Technician, revise the classification of System Programmer, revise the classification, title, and change the pay range of Budget and Fiscal Assistant, and revise the classification and title of Fuel Truck Paint Striper Operator.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendations from the Personnel Policy Board. Are there any questions or discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. F is a contract with Great Plains Appraisal, Inc. in the amount of $4,000 for appraisal services at 2202 South 11th Street.
Good morning, Mr. Coubert.
Good morning. Good morning, Tom Cooper with Great Plains Appraisal. In case there's questions related to this contract.
Are there any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Great Plains Appraisal for the appraising services for the property on South 11th Street. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. G is an agreement with Great Plains Appraisal, Inc. on behalf of Wayne Coubert and Tom Coubert to provide the services of a referee coordinator to coordinate referees who will hear all property tax protests for the 2017 tax year before the Lancaster County Board of Equalization. The referee coordinator shall be reimbursed at a rate of $105 per hour with the total compensation not to exceed $180,000.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Great Plains Appraisal for the services of referee coordinator. Any questions? Commissioner Shore?
I guess I'll just ask if you're ready at this time just to talk briefly about anything unique or particularly, I don't know, different that we might be seeing this year?
And good morning. Again, Tom Coubert with Great Plains Appraisal. We are expecting a little bit heavier traffic this year with a revaluation on the residential class as well as some valuation changes in the agricultural class. We think that that's where the primary focus will be. We will also see some from the commercial class and multifamily class. We do expect it to be a busier year, probably commensurate with maybe 2015 and 2012. We do expect measured in the thousands. Where that thousands lies, I don't know. With the informal hearings that were done earlier in the year through the county assessor's office, they did 5,200 hearings. We believe that that will cut down on the number that we will see. We will also see some of those people back through the process. As the assessor sends out their notifications on June 1st, the taxpayers will have, or the property owners, protestants will have until June 30th to file a grievance protest form with the county clerk, and then we will schedule them for hearings. We are scheduled to wrap it up during the first part of August, so it is a very fast-paced system to try and get several thousand hearings done in about 6 weeks. We are coordinating already with the county clerk's office as well as the Lancaster County Event Center to hold hearings there again this year. It works very well. We have no problem getting with parking, security, and getting people in and out to their hearings in a timely manner. So that is working very well. We have dates lined up, and so that works well. We have room for as many protests as we need. We will make accommodations to staff them. It's a very large room. We can set up more tables. We just need to find referees. And so after today, should this contract be approved, we will then start to go out and find the referees who are available during the summer. We ask a lot of our referees because we ask them to put their personal business aside and spend time out there with us. And our market is very active right now, and we are in a shortage of appraisers, qualified appraisers. Lancaster County is on the cutting edge, I think, in this state in terms of getting people to come volunteer their time. Not volunteer, but necessary to give up their time to come help out with this contract. I certainly appreciate all their efforts.
Commissioner Robinson?
If you would, can you just review how people register for a protest or sign up for a protest, and how they can also sign up for a time slot?
Right. Lancaster County has been one of the cutting-edge counties in this state in terms of online protesting. There is a form that needs to be filled out. It can be done either manually through a form or online. Through that process, then there will be a number of dates to select from. From those dates, they can choose which one works best for them. We have seen that as people are allowed to select their own date rather than being assigned a date, our attendance has gone up. Historically, we've gone up to about 80% attendance, which is very good. We were more like 60 to 65 when we just assigned times. Obviously, the more we can talk to people and meet with them face-to-face, that helps us to understand and to ask follow-up questions. The forms are available through the county clerk's office and then online through the county website, and those need to be filed by June 30th. That is a deadline for filing, but you cannot file until June 1st when the notices go out.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Coopert? Or any other questions regarding this item? I would entertain a motion.
We have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, we do. Apologize. I would just make a comment that, obviously, there's been a lot in the media about property valuations in eastern Nebraska, and I'm thankful that with the help of Great Plains appraisals, as well as the county assessor, I think we'll be able to continue to address those challenges that we face with the increase in valuations. So I'm on behalf of the county, I'm thankful for your work, and I look forward to this process again this year. So with that, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
3H is a mini grant contract application and award with the Nebraska Office of Highway Safety to pay overtime in an amount of $10,780 for the click it or ticket mobilization.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the mini grant contract with the Nebraska Office of Highway Safety. I see Mr. Wagner, the county sheriff, coming up. Good morning.
Good morning, Terry Wagner, County Sheriff. I'll answer any question the board might have. This is an annual highway safety initiative that we participate in every year. There are 3 national highway traffic safety initiatives: the click it or ticket, drink your drive or lose, and drive sober or get pulled over during the different periods of the year. So this one is the spring around the Memorial Day holiday, and we'll be participating in that campaign.
Commissioner Amundson?
Can you just go through, what is the, what are the results of your campaign in the past?
Well, generally, we'll conduct usually a safety checkpoint, a stationary checkpoint that we'll publicize and conduct somewhere in the county. And then throughout the period of the grant, we'll do saturation patrols with the employees who are in certain areas, like 4th of July or Memorial Day, where the lakes are especially busy. We'll participate in that. I don't have the numbers for you now on the past campaigns, but they've been pretty successful.
Good.
And our presence alone is a helpful deterrent.
Oh, absolutely.
And it lets people, it's just a good reminder for folks to drive responsibly.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Wagner? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. I is a contract with the State of Nebraska Administrative Office of Probation for the provision of juvenile detention services at the Youth Services Center. The term of the contract is May 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2021. Total compensation under the contract is not to exceed $11,750,000, so, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm Michelle Schindler, Lancaster County Youth Services Center. This is our housing contract with state probation to provide services for post-adjudicated youth for state probation for youth throughout Nebraska. And with it, it includes transportation services to and from Lancaster County courts. Before we get into questions, I do want to particularly thank all of you for your hard work. This has been being worked on for over a year. Obviously, Mr. Durbin and Mr. Egan, and then internally, Tina Groves, our records manager, Melissa Hood, our budget personnel, and Annette Thompson, the deputy director. And the sheriff's office for coming through and getting us a loaner vehicle to use resources efficiently in Lancaster County until we have our vehicles to provide transportation. Any questions that I can answer?
That would be my question. Are there any questions for Ms. Schindler? Commissioner Shore?
I will just come. You said it's been worked on for over a year. It seems like maybe a little longer than that. And in addition to Mr. Durbin, there have been several other members of the county attorney's office over the
Yes.
years that have worked on this
Right.
contract. And I appreciate everyone's dedication to getting to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about the county attorney's office. Not every agency works with them as much maybe as I do on a daily basis. And I appreciate Mr. Durbin's very pleasant cooperation when I call with questions.
Yeah, and I'll just add, following up on what Commissioner Shore said, this is something that we've struggled with the last few years. And given the state of the budget crisis at the state, I think it is very fortunate that we were able to reach this agreement. And moving forward, obviously there will be continuous dialogues, conversations involving juvenile justice reforms. And so I think that it's helpful to have a contract in place as we continue to work with the state on these issues, because it's unfortunate that there's a lack of understanding about what the needs are for this population, and that Lancaster County and the taxpayers do a great job taking care of this population.
I would agree. In fact, both Madison County and Douglas County are waiting for us to do the signature of the contract so they can then look at our contract. And I'm sure they'll be reaching out to Mr. Durbin for questions. We tend to take the lead on contracts.
I move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with the State of Nebraska Administrative Office of Probation for juvenile detention services at the Youth Service Center. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
For Shelley.
J is a lease with the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club to provide a storage area at 1440 West Burnham Street for the club's materials related to Lancaster County emergency management purposes. The term of the lease is 1 year from the date of execution. There is no fee for the lease.
Good morning. Ron Bohati with Lancaster County Engineering Department, and with me this morning I have Larry Frisch with the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club.
We got a mic right up here for you.
If you want. And I was just going to briefly tell you about the building and then let Larry tell you a little bit about his association. So at 1440 West Burnham, the county owns a building that we refer to as our Yankee Hill building. It used to be a man station, but as Lincoln grew, it's no longer a man station. We just basically use it for storage for some of the summer equipment. We were made aware about a year ago that the Amateur Radio Club was going to be looking for some space, so we were able to kind of consolidate some of our stuff in the building and give them a stall so that they could store some of the necessary items that they have in case we have an emergency. So I'll let Larry go ahead and answer any questions about.
Good morning, I'm Larry Frisch. I'm with the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club. We provide emergency radio communication services for many public service events, including the county fair, the marathon, and so on and so on. We also partner with EOC for storm spotting for Skywarn. We have about 160 members who are state certified storm spotters. So during a given weather event, we can field 50 people out into the county to watch for storms and report. I want to thank the county engineers department. They've been very diligent about finding us a spot to store these items, and it's through their diligence that this has happened. We have a lot of equipment. We have it stored all over the county. We have it in barns, south of Bennett. We have it in outbuildings, garages, and sometimes it's time-consuming to assemble this equipment. This will give us one location where we can have this equipment. One thing that we've provided to EOC is short-range communication. So we can communicate all throughout the county, and we can feed that information back to David Saver on especially flooding. It's very important. Since you're talking about putting the new headquarters at 1200 Radcliffe, that's very close to this building, a couple miles. We will have in this building the antennas and towers necessary to give EOC long-range access in an emergency. So instead of talking to the other side of the county, David Saver could talk to Kansas City, he could talk to Dallas, Texas, he could talk to Chicago or Washington, D.C. So we would put those kinds of elements in place, and we would have it close enough that he could utilize it. We've never been able to offer that to him before. So that's where we are. Are there any questions?
Interesting.
Are there any questions for the two presenters?
Ron, I appreciate you cleaning out your garage to make space for Larry's stuff.
This space will be, we'll have limited access. We'll probably have 4 or 5 hams who will have access. Since EOC owns some of the things that will be stored there, they will also have access. So,
Well, and I'll just make a point, and you mentioned it, but I want to publicly acknowledge that through the work of the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club, the Super Fair for Lancaster County is as successful because of your organization's efforts.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that you are on site 24, well, during hours of operation. You are on site, and you know, a few years ago when there was an issue involving the fair and the weather conditions, having that many people in that close proximity out in metal buildings,
Yes.
definitely, it requires a lot of time and effort to provide a safe environment, and that wouldn't be done without the assistance of your organization and the volunteers that staff the fair.
yes, thank you, thank you. Last year, normally the fair director works with the EOC office with the Weather Bureau to keep track of what's going on. Last year, the fair was shut down twice, and it was shut down from our location. Everybody met at our radio station, and since we had current information, the decisions was made right there in a timely manner. So, thank you.
Commissioner Amundsen?
And Larry, I just wanted to say that the one thing that I've noticed about your club, I believe that we talked about, the location of finding a spot for your equipment. I think it was a year ago in November.
Yes.
It was a long time ago.
That's right.
And anyway, so yeah, I'm really glad that the engineering department was able to find that. But as I was talking to your club members, I noticed the high level of enthusiasm that they have, the dedication. They really enjoy this work. It's fun for them.
Oh, yes, and
Yeah, and so that is actually the added benefit to this, the enthusiasm, the fun, and the concern that they have for everyone.
well, thank you. And fortunately, we have a lot of young people coming in, replacing us old fogies.
Well, set the path.
Thank you. Any other?
Let's see, I approve approval, or I move that we approve this lease.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to approve the lease with the Lincoln Amateur Radio Club. Any discussion?
I just wanted to
Commissioner
chime
Hill.
in that last week we passed a resolution acknowledging the volunteerism within our county and the role that they play assisting and working with the county departments that have important work to do. And so this is just another example of a volunteer organization working in conjunction with one of our departments, and I think that's really admirable. Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
3K is an addendum to County Contract C-16-293, amending the Visitors Improvement Fund grant contract with the University of Nebraska Lincoln State Museum to include video production in the project budget.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the county contract with the University of Nebraska Lincoln State Museum. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. L is a contract with Bachman Inc. for survey of asbestos materials at property generally located at 2202 South 11th Street, Lincoln. Work is to be completed within 8 weeks of execution. The cost of county is not to exceed $3,000.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Bachman Inc. For the survey of asbestos materials. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. M is a recommendation from the purchasing department and the county engineer to award a contract to Platte Valley Equipment for the rental of 4 2- or 4-wheel drive tractors. The total amount is $26,000.
Good morning. Ron Bohati, Lancaster County Engineer. These 4 tractors are something that we've, before this time, we've always owned, and they're used to pull the highway mowers, and then during the winter months, they pretty much just sit. So we're looking at ways to try to save money and have newer equipment that don't need as many repairs. So we've chosen to try to lease the tractors this year. They'll be, as far as what I see on the paperwork, they're going to be 4-wheel drive tractors as opposed to the 2-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little bit larger than what we've had before, so they should work pretty well with the new mowers that we just got approved here about 6 weeks ago.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bahati?
Will you be disposing of the tractors you have then, or will you be retaining those and using them for other use?
We are going to put 2 of them up for auction that we've had the most problems with. We've got some tractors that I want to say are as old as 67, 69, and they don't have any cabs over them. They actually have like a plywood deck over the top so the guys wouldn't be sitting in the sun. So those are going to go on auction on Big Iron this year, and we're going to keep 2 of these tractors that we own to replace those for seeding purposes or disking.
So we've had them since, or they were manufactured, or, I mean, are they that old? Or?
We've got some very old tractors that we use for seeding and disking. These tractors, I want to say they're 05s that we have right now. We'll be selling 2 and retaining 2 to replace the really old tractors that we have that we'll be putting on auction.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the contract with Platte Valley Equipment for the rental of tractors. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Enter contracts with the following to provide the annual supply of vinyl locator flags. Term of the contracts are 1 year from the date of execution. This includes Blackburn Manufacturing Company in an amount not to exceed $500, and China Maple Leaf Industrial Development Limited in an amount not to exceed $2,500.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for the annual supply of vinyl locator flags. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 3O is an amendment to extend County Contract C-16-265 with Fastenal Company for industrial supplies. The amendment extends the contract from March 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2017. The cost to county is not to exceed $800.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the contract with Fastenal Company for industrial supplies. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. P is an amendment to County Contract C-14-132 with Jacob North Print and Media Solutions for business card and letterhead printing. The amendment assigns the contract to Firespring.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the contract with Jacob North Print and Media Solutions for business card and letterhead printing. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Q is an amendment to County Contract C-14-8 with Firespring for the annual requirements of offset printing and related services. The amendment adds additional line items and renews the contract from January 14th, 2017 through January 13th, 2018. The cost of county is not to exceed $55,000.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the contract with Firespring for the annual requirements of offset printing and related services. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. R are amendments to the following contracts for annual services for pest control. The amendments renew the contracts from April 12, 2017 through April 11, 2018. And this is for County Contract C-16-154 with Orkin LLC in an amount not to exceed $1,000. And County Contract C-16-153 with Guardian Pest Solutions, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $3,200.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the contracts for the annual services of pest control. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. S is a grant contract with Men with Dreams in an amount of $8,250 for the Brick by Brick program through the Nebraska Commission on Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice Juvenile Services Aid State Grant number 16-JS-0422. Term of the grant contract is December 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017.
Good morning, Sarah with Lincoln Lancaster Human Services. This is a grant contract. It's for state juvenile justice services grant funding. It's competitive state funding. The match dollars are coming directly from Men with Dreams, not through the county. The purpose of the program is to facilitate, it's called a Dreamers Academy at the detention center. It runs in 2 separate pods. The first half hour is spent on physical activity. There's 2 gentlemen that facilitate the program, so they work out with the kids. And then the second half is spent on helping the youth achieve their dreams. And so they have dreamers' journals that they help them complete. Shelley was unable to stay, but she seems to be happy with the program. So we've heard positive feedback from the kids.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Men with Dreams. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 4, consent items. Receive and place on file the following reports for March 2017. Assessor Register Deeds, Clerk of the District Court, County Clerk, Records and Information Management. Setting public hearings for Tuesday, April 18th, 2017 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building for the following. Manager application for Cheryl Wright in connection with a Class 1 liquor license for Miller Long VFW Post 3606 at 3340 West A Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department amendments to County Resolution R-13-0072 regarding changes to ambient air quality standards, operating permits when required, particulate limitations and standards, incinerator emission standards, nitrogen oxide emission standards for existing stationary sources, emission sources testing and monitoring, general permits, and regulations and standards definitions. Utility permit number 1529, allowing Windstream Nebraska, Inc. to install approximately 400 linear feet of new fiber optic cable on the east side of Northwest 112th Street from the intersection of Northwest 112th and West Alva Road. There is no cost to the county. Receive and place on file the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office return on the sale of the vacated portion of West Mikey Street, which was held on March 30th, 2017.
Move approval of the consent items.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Are there any discussion? I will just point out regarding the public hearings next Tuesday, I will not be here. I will be in Orlando attending the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative Conference, but I have discussed item number 2, the Health Department amendments, and I don't have any issues. So with that, I will go ahead and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next is number 5, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business, non-agenda, may do so at this time.
Good morning, Mr. Aldridge.
We're in that time of year when a person often doesn't know at the beginning of the day how to dress for the end of the day.
It's Nebraska and it's spring. So
Gary Aldridge, Lincoln, Nebraska. I use this time for a point of personal privilege and pride regarding Staff Sergeant Aaron Marshall Aldridge, youngest son of Margaret and Gary Aldridge. Notice the order, my wife first. With respect to our sons, she did all the heavy lifting. Sergeant Aldridge, Company G, 2-135, General Support Aviation Battalion, Nebraska Army National Guard, accepted a position with Company G, 2-104 GSAB, United States Army, at the same rank and pay. The position is temporary. This band of sisters and brothers departed Lincoln June 2016 with stops in Fort Hood, Texas, the Persian Gulf, final destination, third week July 2016, KAF, Kandahar Airfield, Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Life is cluttered with risk, more so these days in a place like Afghanistan. I confess, and I speak for my wife, this made me nervous, anxious, and uneasy. I am not unmindful, which is to say I am mindful Afghanistan seems largely untamed and or disordered. Alas, death is never far from life. Each compete in a zero-sum game. At departure, the estimated return, both route and date open, spring 2017. Excuse me. Saturday last, approximately 13:30 local time, my wife received a text message. Company G, 2-104 GSAB was in Kuwait. It is less important when 2-104 departed the airspace of Afghanistan, and more important that the band of sisters and brothers had in fact departed the airspace of Kuwait, of Afghanistan. Kuwait, Fort Hood, Lincoln. All should clearly understand 2-104 replaced and displaced homeward others from, I think, Wyoming, and 2-104 is replaced and displaced homeward by others, I think, Wisconsin Guard. I hope the effort will require others travel this path less often. I suspect 2-104 is not returning unchanged. I suspect most of these sisters and brothers have experiences that can never be described and most citizens could never understand. To my son and this band of sisters and brothers, what can anyone offer that does not appear weak and fruitless? Father to son, going in harm's way, Afghanistan will not be much fun. This is serious business. Do your job, keep your head down, don't be a hero. Son to father, I'll be home soon. Soon, maybe, Friday of this week. Speaking only for myself, to Company G 2104 United States Army, soon to be Company G 2135 Nebraska Army Guard. Welcome home. I'm glad you are back. The same day 2104 arrived Kuwait, Staff Sergeant Mark R. Dealencar, Dealencar, 37, Edgewood, Maryland, killed, Nangarhar Province, Afghanistan. At times, democracy is not beautiful, not pleasant. It is very hard. If I may, I've shared with you all the information I have at this time. Some of you I know have participated in these ceremonies, the departure and the return. There may be some information published or printed in the Journal Star. I'm not sure. I will try to keep you informed if you're interested in this. This is the second time my family now has gone through this, once Iraq and now Afghanistan. I know that the departure ceremony usually is more elaborate. Dignitaries, the governor's office may be there, the Nebraska congressional delegation, the AG. The return may be less elaborate, but it is no less important to a lot of people. This is a small band of people, 40-some. I think most of them probably live in Lincoln. I think probably all of them do live in Lancaster County, so they're constituents of yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Amundson?
Yeah, and Gary? As a retired brigadier general, I say this, but as a retired brigadier general, and on behalf of a grateful nation, we would like to extend our appreciation to your son.
Thank you.
And I'll just point out, Gary, obviously you know, I attended the send-off ceremony in my former role as a congressional staffer. I attended quite a few send-offs and welcome homes, and I agree that the welcome home ceremonies are much more celebratory than the send-offs. And so I will just echo what Commissioner Amundson said, that not only did the individual service members sacrifice, but their families did as well. I know the last year has been very difficult for your family and for the families of all those who have been deployed. And so on behalf of the county board, we are very grateful for your son and his sisters and brothers in service. Thank you.
Next is number 6, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, April 13th, 2017 at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford Studio of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next early meeting on Tuesday, April 18th, 2017 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, with the Lancaster County Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live. It is rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays on 5 City TV, Cable Channel 5. In addition, the meeting may be viewed on the internet at lancaster.ne.gov under 5 City TV Video on Demand or 5 City TV on YouTube.
Move we adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Brinkman?
I'd like to have some public announcements before you guys adjourn.
That was the previous agenda item under public comment. So,
I didn't catch that.
okay, if you'd like to come up.
Yes, sir. Sorry for not hearing that, sir. Hi, I'm Mike Worms. I live at 7820 Northwest Highland 12th in Malcolm, Nebraska. I'd like to request that the County Commission Board rule to include Chapter 13 in zoning, special zoning permits, and bring that chapter in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, which is ag and ag residential, to put that special permit within them two zonings.
Okay, have you had that discussion with the planning department?
No, I have not.
Okay, I would refer you to them. They're located upstairs on the second floor.
Okay.
The director, Mr. David Carey, would be the person to talk to about that.
Okay.
And then there's a
And
process.
Tom.
And Tom,
Yeah.
yeah. We have a county planner upstairs as well. So we'll get you that information. Okay?
So it ain't something you guys can vote on and approve?
No, you would need to talk to the planning department first, and then there's a process in which any amendments would go through the planning department, the planning commission, and then the board. But the first step would be to communicate with the planning department.
Okay, and that's on second floor?
Directly above us on the second floor.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely, thank you. Are there anybody else for public comment? Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We are adjourned. The Board of Equalization meeting is over. Now we'll go ahead and start with the Board of Equalization meeting. Mr. Clerk, please start the agenda.
Copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Also in attendance this morning is Scott Gaines from the county assessor's office. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, March 21st, 2017.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, March 21st. Any discussion or corrections? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is a public hearing. This is for motor vehicle tax exemption applications. This includes Christ Place, City Impact, Developmental Services Nebraska, Inc., Dialysis Center of Lincoln, Grace Chapel, Lincoln, the Presbyterian Church in America, Lincoln Baptist Church, Lincoln Church of Christ, Messiah Lutheran Church and School, Nebraska United Methodist Foundation, Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, doing business as Our Lady of Guadalupe Seminary, School Sisters of the Christ the King, and Sesostris Shrine, and Tabitha Inc.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Is there anyone here to speak in support, opposition, or in the neutral capacity regarding these applications? Seeing none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing.
Next is action on motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 5 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business, non-agenda, may do so at this time.
Move we adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Concludes the Lancaster County Board of Equalization. Thank you.